One Piece Chapter 1000 delivered. It absolutely delivered. Maybe not on some of the crazy expectations that some of you had, but in terms of story and Wano and everything we've been building up to, the last scene in this chapter is everything we've been waiting for. And we will get into all that, but as always for this chapter review, we start at the top. One Piece Chapter 1000. It's finally here. It's titled Straw Hat Luffy. And of course it's titled that because it's a big time Luffy chapter, especially what he does at the end of the chapter. And before we even get into the chapter, he actually gets a lot of shine just on the cover of the Shonen Jump. We saw half of it last chapter in One Piece chapter 999, where Luffy's face was like kind of cut off, but by combining 999 and 1000, you get this beautiful double page spread with the covers of the Jump magazine, and you see Luffy dead center smiling. He's got a crown on. You also see a bunch of other Jump characters with other One Piece characters. My favorite ones are probably Asta with Shirahoshi and him like having star eyes and everything. Also, Don Krieg kind of has a big spot in this cover, which is kind of funny. But yeah, dope double cover page there by Shonen Jump to kind of celebrate One Piece's chapter 1000. But onto the story, we are still in Onigashima, so we don't jump into the rocks flashbacks and the big things everybody was expecting based off the conversation last chapter. In fact, we see Luffy. He is on the 5th floor about to make it to the top of the staircase, and he's facing no challenges to get up there because Shishilian and the Musketeers actually managed to come down from the dome and take out any beast pirates. Last we saw them, they got bodied by Jack in their Sulong forms, but it looks like they somehow recovered and made their way back down to take out any additional beast pirates. So now Luffy has a straight path to the top of the dome with Kaido and Big Mom. And of course, before Luffy goes up, he thanks them, but also calls back to the Raizo is safe moment. That just goes to show how good of a moment that was. One of the best moments post time skip for sure. And it definitely really hit home with Luffy and how much loyalty the Minks had with the Scabbards and their dedication to this whole mission. And Luffy saying that also draws a tear out of Shishilian's eye, which was really wholesome. But next we jump to Marco, who is going up against Queen and King. And there's a lot of interesting things here, but first off, we just gotta talk about Marco because this man is very, very impressive. Like I said previously, he's taken some L's in the story because he's been up against really capable people. Like, he didn't really win at Marineford, but he took on like admirals and all that kind of stuff. But here now he is up against other Yonko commanders, people that are comparable to him, and he's proving that he is very, very capable. We have King and Queen, really the top two commanders of Kaido's crew, and Marco just straight up headlocks both of them and grabs them. You even have Queen, who's been attacking him the whole time, saying like, what is wrong with him? Why can't we hurt him? And at first this was kind of weird, like, why doesn't Queen know Marco's powers? They've definitely fought before, especially with like the dialogue we saw with him and Perospero before, of Perospero saying like, I wanted to kill you in the past. I think it's just to really hit home how strong Marco is and how mysterious his devil fruit powers are. What's also really mysterious though is Queen and how he's able to manipulate and change his body. We saw last chapter he had like a gun coming out of his mouth, but like we didn't really think about that too much. But now he's showing off that his neck is also like this mechanical long pipe, so somehow he's altered his body, at least in the ancient zone form, to include all those mechanisms. Now this is very interesting for multiple reasons, because first off, does this confirm that Queen is a cyborg? Like, the man has a mechanical neck and a gun coming out of his throat. Like, all he needs to do now is to say super. But yeah, it's really interesting. I don't think you should be able to like change your ancient zone type without altering your like human body. What's even more exciting about this is that it shows that Queen is really like a scientist and knows a lot more beyond just the plague and all those things. Of course, this connects to like the judge thing that got mentioned a few chapters ago. I think it's becoming very likely that Queen had some kind of connection to Vegapunk before, because so far in the story, every single smart person had some connection to Vegapunk before. This also makes me very excited for a potential Sanji versus Queen fight, which I think is very likely now. But yeah, back to Marco. He just headlocks both of them. The other two couldn't do anything. Some people are bagging on King because he hasn't really done much besides give out orders. I'm still holding on hope he showcases more because he is kind of seen as Kaido's right hand. But I gotta admit, so far he's not really doing much. Marco, on the other hand, is able to stop them, throws Zoro to the top of the dome, and Zoro, it looks like he's the first one to get up there. Marco's dialogue here is also pretty cool. Like, he's like, calm down, boys. I don't think you know what you're up against. I'm Marco the Phoenix. But yeah, with that, it sets up Zoro going to the top, ready to fight Kaido and cut him, so that's gonna be his main battle. I think it's pretty clear at this point we're gonna get Marco versus King, get that aerial battle, and then Sanji will hopefully get freed up and go and fight Queen. But jumping into the next scene, we go back to Momonosuke and Yamato and their conversation about the D-Clan, and Yamato starts by revealing how she gets this information by revealing the Oden journal. Now this is pretty big because one thing a lot of people said about Yamato not joining the Straw Hats is that she potentially knows too much because of the journal, but now now another major Straw Hat candidate has the journal as well in Momonosuke. Now, do I think this means now they're both not gonna join? No. What I actually think this confirms is that the journal itself doesn't have like any crazy information about the One Piece and anything like that. All it has is like Oden's journeys and everything that he did. So it's not really gonna provide any broken information to Yamato or Momonosuke, and instead I think it will give them more information to be like references later if they do join the Straw Hats. So like when they meet Shanks later, maybe Yamato or Momonosuke could bring up of like, oh, you were on Roger's ship and you guys did this, da 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 da. But yeah, Momo has the journal now, and although he was with Oden for most of what happened in the journal, him reading like Oden's final journey I'm sure will be good for him. On top of that though, the really interesting thing is Yamato revealing how she found the journal, because it is really convenient that she somehow was able to find it. But what she says here is that someone must have protected the journal from the burning castle. Now the only person I would think that would do this is Toki. Does this mean she did this like before she ran out of the castle with the horse? Or is she possibly alive? I'm definitely interested in Toki's role and what she really did like as she left. I don't think this confirms like she's alive or anything, but I think we'll find out more about her. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. But yeah, after this, Yamato kind of goes into like a monologue about the new generation, which you could really see here. Oda is like hyping up the new generation here, especially with like last chapter. You had the conversation of like Yamato and Ace hyping up like Beige and Kid and Law, also Cavendish. But yeah, Yamato here is really talking about like Oden and the Roger Pirates predicting the new generation will really take over in 20 years. Marco has also showcased a lot of confidence in the new generation as well, so I'm wondering if he knew something from Whitebeard. But yeah, it's very clear right now the new generation is ready to step up. As Yamato is monologuing, we see Kid, Killer, and Law about to head up to the top of the dome, as we see later in the chapter, and then we get another Ace flashback, which I didn't think we were gonna get, but I'm happy to get more. And we're picking up here from the last Yamato and Ace conversation where Ace was talking about Luffy, and we jump into Ace saying it's like, oh, I misspoke, I spoke about Luffy's dream. So first off, he's kind of acknowledging that Luffy's dream is kind of crazy, but at the same time, he then says, hey, don't you dare laugh, that's my little brother. And he talks about Sabo as well, and how Sabo and him would be mad at Yamato if she laughed at his dream. But yeah, I really like these wholesome moments with Ace, like showing his brotherly love to Luffy, and like even though he knows the dream is crazy, he says that we believe in him. You gotta really appreciate these moments of Ace, especially now that he's gone. After seeing his flashback as well, and him and Luffy's relationship with Sabo as well, seeing more of Ace here and his relationship with Luffy and Sabo and how he cares about them is really cool. But this scene is also another parallel of Luffy and Roger, because Yamato says, I would never laugh at that dream, because it's exactly what Roger said. Now this is something that's been hammered home, is Luffy and Roger had the same dream. You had the parallel panels of Luffy telling Sabo and Ace of his dream, and then Roger telling Oden and Whitebeard his dream, which Yamato actually refers back to in this chapter. Now what's interesting here is that at first when I read this, I thought, okay, this is talking about both of them wanting to become the Pirate King. But some people also pointed out that like Roger's dream wasn't really to become the Pirate King. Well, it's a little unclear, because the title of Pirate King was really gifted to Roger from the world government. It felt like it really wasn't something that he created, so maybe that doesn't make sense that it's his dream. And if that's the case, that must mean Luffy and Roger have a different dream that we don't know about, and it really hasn't been revealed yet, because we keep cutting away from the scene when they both say it. And that dream is actually the similarity between those two, so there's definitely some mystery here, but I don't think it's anything crazy, but Oda is definitely hiding it for a reason, I think. But back to Yamato and Ace, their conversation gets even better because they start talking about Roger, and Yamato here refers to Roger as a great man and how a great man said the same words Luffy did before, and then Ace, not knowing that it's Roger, says, hey, we could probably get along if we had a drink or something. And this is really sad and wholesome at the same time, because Ace hated Roger for like all the notoriety and shame that Roger's name brought upon Ace. But at the same time, Ace never really knew the type of person that Roger was. And in this context where Roger is being referred to as an anonymous person, Ace actually kind of seems like he would get along with him. We can only hope that in like the One Piece heaven right now, they kind of made up and they're having a drink and getting to know each other a little better. But yeah, in this final exchange of Yamato and Ace, we see Yamato creates a Viva card for Ace, and then Ace gives her a piece saying that they would reunite, and he takes off, but of course he is now dead and never returns. And Yamato of course learned about Ace's death because of the Viva card disappearing, and then she read the news of everything that happened. And the transition here from this scene onto the next very epic scene is very good, because it's a passing of will used as a transition here. Yamato's recalling Lord Oden's words about how in 20 years a new generation will come and free and help this country. And she always believed that it was going to be Ace, but of course Ace died, but now Luffy, the little brother that Ace talks so much about, is now here to help and save the day. And to showcase him, we see this beautiful double page spread of Big Mom and Kaido on one side, and on the other side we have Luffy, Law, Kid, Zoro, and Killer. So yeah, we got 5 Supernova versus 2 Yonko. We don't get any action in this chapter, but I'm very excited to see what happens. All 5 of them should get a lot of shine, but of course in this chapter, the title is Straw Hat Luffy, and he takes center stage. He's the last one to get up there, but he walks right up to Kaido and Big Mom, and those two are talking about how Luffy proclaims to be the Pirate King, which I believe he did that in front of both of them. And these are 2 Yonko like straight up talking to Luffy, saying like, you've been talking a lot of nonsense, what's that all about? So Luffy does not give a damn about him, just walks right past them, and he walks up to the defeated body of Kinemon, who is not dead yet, but he's definitely not in good shape, and as are the other Scabbards. They all got bodied. I will say I was hoping to see more from Ashura Doji, but I don't think the Scabbards are completely done yet either. But yeah, as Big Mom and Kaido are talking to Luffy, he just walks right past them because he cares more about Kinemon. And even as he's talking to Kinemon, Kaido's like saying like, hey, say that to my face again, I dare you. Kaido really loves to like hear people say things twice and doesn't believe them. First the Momonosuke saying his name thing, and now the Luffy Pirate King thing. He just feels like that one bully that wants to get stood up against. But of course Luffy's not paying attention to him. He's straight up just listening to Kinemon, who is completely utterly defeated, and he's like kind of having a really emotional moment. He's talking about like, hey, we can't go out like this. Like if we end up like this, I can't face Oden in the other world. So once again, he asks Luffy for help. He says, please shoulder our burden. And of course, Luffy says yes for the simple reason that the people of Wano are his friends. And as he declares this, we see Kaido behind him with the club. Of course, last time he swung the club at Luffy, it did not fare well for Luffy. Luffy got knocked out. But this time, first, Luffy gets Law to transfer the Scabbards away. And then he doesn't even go gear 4th here. He goes into gear 3rd. And he launches the attack Red Rock. Now, Red Rock here is a direct connection to Red Hawk, Luffy's gear 2nd attack that was kind of inspired by Ace and dedicated to him. And before he launches it at Kaido, we get this beautiful flashback of everything that we've been building up to. The Raizo is safe moment in Zou, and also Momonosuke's big moment of asking Luffy for help. We also get the moments in Wano when we found out Momo and Kinemon jumped from the future and Oden is dead. Yasuye sacrificed Hyogoro's emotional response when he found out a rebellion is still alive. All of this has been built up to this moment. We are finally getting Luffy and the Supernova going up against Big Mom and Kaido. And Luffy launches the first attack of this battle with Red Rock, and he punches Kaido right in the face. And now remember, he did this many times before and it did not do a thing. But this time, one punch knocks down Kaido to the ground and he's bleeding out the mouth. Even Big Mom is surprised, saying like, oh, Kaido, what are you doing? How has one punch put you down? And you see the shock expressions of Big Mom and Kaido as Luffy is like adjusting his hat, which that panel in itself parallels a panel of Shanks in chapter 1. And then Luffy says the thing that both of them wanted to hear again, is that he's Monkey D. Luffy and he will become the Pirate King. And that is the end of the chapter. Now, I know some people were disappointed because we didn't get like the Rocks thing. I thought Scopper might have been revealed this chapter. That didn't happen. And I will admit, on the first read, it did feel a little slow, but take away your crazy expectations and just look at this chapter as a build up to Wano. Everything we've been building up to in like finding out about Momonosuke and Oden's story and the Oden flashback, really starting off from Zou and everything that happened there. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for. Luffy taking on 2 Yonko with 4 other Supernovas. And it's about to go down. Now, do I think 5 of them are enough against Big Mom and Kaido? Not really. I do think it should put up a good fight. I'm really excited to see the coordination of everybody. Some people have also pointed out that these 5 have been like front and center of the Supernova, and they do have like the most connection to this fight. There are other Supernova here like Apu, Drake, Hawkins. I don't know if they're gonna make it up top. I think Drake will fight Apu for a while. Hawkins, on the other hand, I've always said he should probably just run. But as far as this fight goes, this is gonna be it for right now, I think. I'm just really excited to see them coordinate fights. Like what we saw out of Luffy and Law in Dressrosa, now Law could do with like 4 other people. Zoro finally maybe could showcase more of what he's capable of. Kid as well and his devil fruits. Killer too hasn't really gotten that much shine, and now he's here with some big names. So I think next chapter and the next few chapters, which I'm really excited about, is going to continue more of this fight and like jump around and showcase other matchups. We still have to find out about Thomas Plant, other matchups like Who's Who versus Jinbei, Frankie versus Sasaki, Sanji hopefully getting freed, and we get Robin versus Black Maria and Sanji versus Queen. It's all about to go down, and we still have to remember it's still Act 3. So a tragedy still has to happen, and that needs some build up as well. So this chapter sets up a lot of exciting stuff, but it was not just a setup chapter. It delivered on everything we've been waiting for. It's kicking off the action in this war, and it's an absolute banger of a chapter. But what about you guys? What did you think of One Piece chapter 1000? Do you have some predictions of what's coming next, let me know in the comments below. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please hit that like button. Helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. If you want to keep up to date with this channel, you gotta hit that subscribe button. The King Pirates crew is now over 10,000 members. Another huge milestone hit. I really wanted to hit this before the end of the year. I didn't know if it was gonna happen because of the vacation I recently took, but it still did. It actually like happened during my live reaction to chapter 1000. So I got chapter 1000 and 10K subscribers. Just a great day for me in general. Thank you all for your support. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Shout out to all my King Pirates Elite members. Thank you for your support. I'm officially back from vacation, so I got a lot of fun content coming your way. But yeah, thank you for 10K. If you guys want to interact with your fellow crewmates, King Pirates Discord in the description below. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm DKing4, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.